Hello everyone, this is Poonam Kuar, Assistant Professor, Government Postgrad College, Bagipalli. Today we'll be discussing the subject Consumer Behavior, which is for BBA, 5th semester, Bangalore North University. And today's topic for discussion will be from the 4th chapter, that is Consumers' Decision Making Process. And our topic will be Categories of Adopters and Non-Adopters. So we'll be saying what are the different categories under adopters and non-adopters, or how these adopters and non-adopters concept can be studied with relating to decision making process for consumers. So before actually starting today's topic, let us first recap the previous class topic. Like we had discussed the diffusion of innovation theory. So in a previous class, we had discussed this concept where we have seen how this diffusion of innovation theory has come into picture, and what are the concepts which are included in this diffusion of innovation theory, what is innovation, what are the different types of innovations we have seen, and in the diffusion of innovation theory, what are the different stages. This all we had discussed in our previous class. Now, the learning objective of the objective of this chapter is to provide an understanding of consumers' decision-making process. So this is very much important for any consumer, how they are taking any decision. So on what basis they are taking any decision, this would be understood by this chapter. Now, the session outcome. The session outcomes here, the students will be able to classify adopters and non-adopters of customers. So, whom we call it as adopters, whom we call it as non-adopters. So, this in detail we will be seeing in this session. So, let us actually start today's concept, that is adopters and non-adopters categories. So, first let us see what is adopter categories. Yes. So adopter, the word itself says adopter. They are accepting. They are accepting the change which has been prevailing. So adopter categories divide the consumers into segments. So the consumers are divided into different segments under this category. And those segments are based on their willingness to try out a new innovation or product. If something new, when it is coming into market, and if anybody is willing to try that new product or any innovation which has been launched in the market, and that particular person would be considered a part of adopter categories, who is willing to try out any new things. Okay, so here the adopter categories, the consumers will be divided in different segments. Now each segment will be having their own characteristics. So segment wise, we will be seeing how the consumers are willing to try out any kind of innovation which is sustaining in the market. Now, the adopter categories as a term is part of the diffusion of innovations theory. As in the previous class, we have discussed diffusion of innovation theory. Now, the same in adopter categories also, the diffusion of theory stages. Diffusion of innovation theory stages we have seen. Those stages are all the parts of adopter categories. So, it has been applied to several studies, including in the marketing, organizational studies, knowledge management, communications, and complexity studies, among others. So this adopter categories and the theory of diffusion of innovation has been applied to varied subjects, where all the subjects are using this theory just to know the market conditions, how they can do best for their consumers. The adopter categories were first named and described in the landmark book Diffusion of Innovations by sociologist Everett Rogers in the year 1962. So this, who has introduced this adopter categories? So it has been first named by a famous sociologist, and he is one of the communication theorist by name Everett Rogers in his famous book Diffusion of Innovations in the year 1962. Now, the adopter categories, what are their characteristics? How we can, how we can elaborate adopter categories? Let's see now. So, in Rogers' adopter categories, he acknowledges that not everyone possesses the same motivation to adopt new technology. This is most important thing here we need to understand. In Rogers' adopter categories, he has clearly acknowledged that every individual does not possess the same kind of motivation, the same kind of excitement to adopt any kind of new technologies or any kind of new innovation or any kind of new product which has been launched in the market. Everyone will not be same excited as others might be. So the excitement level in individual will be different to adopt any new technologies, to adopt anything new. So based on the adoption process, based on the motivation level to adopt the new process, new innovation, the Mr. Rogers has divided these adopter categories into 5 basic parts. That is, the first comes the innovators. Now, who are these innovators? Let's see in detail who are these innovators. So these individuals adopt new technology or ideas simply because they are new. And innovators tend to take risks more readily and are the most venturesome. They are the highest risk takers. So this category of adopters, they are highly risk takers and they are least bother about the price. The individuals adopt new technologies or ideas just to have a try of what is new in the market. These innovators are more readily to accept anything which is coming new in the market. So this is one of the adopter categories by name innovators. The name itself says they are innovators. They always want to try new things or whatever comes into the market. So this is one of the category of adopters. Secondly, it comes the early adopters. Now, who are these early adopter category people? Now, as the name itself says, early adopters. This is also one of the category of adopter where they will be early to adopt. After innovators, they would be the early to adopt the new technology. So, this group tends to create opinions which propel trends. They are not unlike innovators in how quickly they take on new technologies and ideas, but are more concerned about their reputation and as being ahead of the curve. So here under this category, this group tends to create opinion. Under this level, the opinions would be framed about the new launch and these opinions will propel the trends. They will be the trend setters. We can call them as a trend setters. So they are not unlike innovators. Like innovators are quickly to accept the new technologies, but these early adopters, they are not so quickly as innovators, but they are also early to adopt. And the new technologies and ideas, they are more concerned about their reputation. They think if I go and buy this, whether my reputation would be, affected, or whether my reputation will increase, or whether my reputation may not be downgraded. This kind of analysis would be done by these early adopters before adopting any new technology. Of course, they are also risk takers. They are also ready to accept the change, but they are more concerned about their reputation as being ahead of the curve. So this category of adopter, this is also one of the category of adopters. We call it as early adopters. Okay, and then the thirdly comes the early majority. This is also one of the category in adopters, that is we call as early majority. If an idea or other innovation enters this group, it tends to be widely adopted before long. This group makes decisions based on utility and practical benefits over coolness. The word itself says majority. Majority, it includes like many. Majority tends to be many. So once these early adopters have given their opinions about one kind of new technology, new product or any new launch, this early majority will also be accepting that thing by following early adopters. So here innovation enters this group and it tends to be widely adopted. Okay, it tends to be widely adopted before long, like within a short span of time only. Innovators would be there, then early adopter comes, and then early majority comes. So this group makes decisions based on utility and practical benefits over coolness. Like how actually this will be useful for me, they think, and then practically they will be looking for the what kind of benefits I can get out of this new innovation. So these two criteria would be analyzed, and then these early adopters also will become the part of adopters category. Then the third comes the late majority. Now, what is this late majority? The term itself says late majority. See, early majority, they will be little early. And late majority is once this early adopters category gets saturation level, this late majority comes. So the late majority shares some traits with the early majority, but is more cautious before committing, needing more hand holding as they adopt. So here it comes, they are late majority and they share some traits as like early majority. They are also similar to the early majority requirements, but they are more cautious. They think a lot before making any decision to accept something. So they are cautious category. We call it as adopters cautious category. So here they constitute the late majority part. And then comes the laggards. This is also one of the category in adopters where we call it as laggards. The term laggards here is slow. Laggards indicate here slow. So this group is slow to adopt new ideas or technology. The category of this kind of adopters are very slow to adopt the new technology. They are always very traditional. They are very stereotypes traditional. They are more concerned about their traditional methods of buying behavior. They tend to adopt only when they are forced to, or because everyone else has already used. Now, when everybody has already used such kind of change, such kind of new technology, then they think, oh, fine, everyone has used, now I should also go for it. Otherwise, I would be upscolded from this technology. So this group is slow to adopt new technology or any new ideas which is coming into picture. They tend to adopt only when they are forced, when some external or when some external force forcibly it I mean applies on them and they will not be having any other option to abscond for that. At that situation they adopt this kind of new innovation. So this particular category of adopters are named as laggards. Is that clear? Okay. So in our today's session, we have seen what is adopter categories and who has used this term first, and what are the different what are the characteristics of these adopter categories. So in characteristics of adopter categories, we have seen different five categories in adopters. They include innovators, early adopters, early majority, late majority, and the laggards. Okay, now, so here within this five only we can make out who are adopters and who are non-adopters. So the non-adopter categories would be out of this all, but laggards can also be considered to an extent non-adopters because they're forcibly forced to adopt it. Yes, so in our today's session we have discussed about adopter categories and non-adopters. So I hope you guys have understood. So thanks for listening. Thank you so much.